Great ideas that move you. Straight from Europe's brightest minds. Experience top speakers from 8 European universities, sharing insights on topics that truly matter to you. The Ulysses Open online lecture series brings leading voices from diverse fields, cultures, and disciplines right to your screen. Each session offers the latest research, fresh perspectives, and inspiring ideas that shape our future. In just 30 minutes, you'll gain practical, real-world skills in an online, flexible format, accessible from anywhere. Join us online from anywhere and expand your horizons with knowledge from across Europe.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Ulysses Open Lecture Series. This series brings leading voices from diverse fields, cultures, and disciplines right here to your screen. In each session, we offer the latest research and inspiring ideas that shape our collective future. Through this initiative, you will have the opportunity to experience top speakers from 8 European universities, sharing insights on topics that truly matter. But for those of you who are not familiar with Ulysses, let me briefly introduce this inspiring initiative. Ulysses is one of the 73 European University Alliances selected by the European Commission under its flagship European Strategy for Universities. These alliances are co-funded by the European Commission and bring together 650 higher education institutions across Europe, creating a vibrant ecosystem of collaboration, innovation, and knowledge exchange. Led by the University of Seville, the Ulysses European University Alliance includes a total of 8 partner institutions. Along with the University of Seville, it's the Université Côte d'Azur in France, University of Genoa in Italy, Technical University of Košice in Slovakia, MCI, the Entrepreneurial School in Austria, Haga-Helia University of Applied Sciences in Finland, University of Münster in Germany, and the University of Montenegro. Together, all these universities work toward a shared vision, fostering excellence in education, research, and societal impact across borders. Within this rich and collaborative framework, today's lecture is titled AI, Ethics, and Bias, Shaping the Future of Technology, and invites all of us to reflect on one of the most pressing challenges of our time. As you know, as artificial intelligence continues to transform industries, societies, and everyday life, it also raises fundamental questions about fairness, responsibility, transparency, and trust. So how do we ensure that the systems that we build reflect our shared values? How do we prevent bias from becoming embedded in the technologies that shape our decisions? These are precisely the questions that bring us together today. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker. So today we are honored to welcome Belén Vega Márquez, Assistant Professor at the University of Seville. Welcome, Belén.
Thank you, Elena.
Belén specializes in applied artificial intelligence for healthcare and industry, with a particular focus on generative models and synthetic data. Her research explores how AI can improve decision-making processes while at the same time addressing the ethical and privacy challenges that arise from data use. With a strong track record spanning both academic research and industry, Belén brings a uniquely balanced perspective, bridging cutting-edge innovation along with real-world application. Beyond her research, she is also a passionate educator and science communicator, deeply committed to ensuring that technological progress is not only innovative, but also socially responsible and inclusive. But before we begin, I would like to briefly outline how this session is going to unfold. So we're going to have approximately 30 minutes presentation from Belén, followed by 15 minutes dedicated of questions and discussion. So we strongly encourage you to take an active role, so please don't be shy. Share your thoughts and reflections and questions you might have in the chat, and we will make sure to address as many as possible at the very end of the session. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to hand over to our speaker. So Belén, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Elena, and thank you everyone for the warm welcome. Let me share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you again for coming today to this lecture, and thank you to Uliseus team for letting me be here. So today, as Elena said, we are going to make a journey in technology, and we have to start with this important question that is, where are technologies going? And most importantly, why are they affecting us? So we will see in this lecture, we will have an objective that is threefold. We will see how rapid is going the technological evolution. Then we will see some emerging technologies that we have to take into account. And then, of course, we will see the ethical consideration that we need to have in mind. So let's start with some questions that I want to ask you guys. You don't have to put the answer in chat. You can if you want, of course. But then we will make an exercise about these type of questions. But the first one is, let's think, okay? If your freedom was taken away, but you still feel free, will it matter? Please think about this answer. Then, if you have to give up your privacy to connect with other, will it matter? And then, third question, if you were to lie, but this made you happy, will it matter? I think, in my opinion, yes. Okay, but just think about the answer. And the last one, if your body and mind were controlled by computers, will it matter? Okay, think please. And now we are going to make an exercise. So please, I will be more than pleased if you scan this QR code and make this experiment. You have to ask just 2 questions. Okay, the first one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you trust on AI to dictate a legal sentence if it were 20% more objective than a human? You can join scanning the code, or you can join in the web with this code that you have on the left. Thank you. Thank you so much for your answers. You know, when it's an interactive presentation, you always have the okay, perfect. I can see that 7 is the most voted one. But you can, here we can see a lot of answers that range from 3 to 10. Okay, thank you guys. We are going to continue to the next question. Okay, I can see that we have more votes. And we go to the next question. The next question is, you don't have to scan the code again. It will appear in your computer or in your phone immediately. So the next question is, if an AI causes accidental harm, determining who should be the primary responsibles, developer, the end user, or the AI's identity. Think, for example, in the case where an autonomous vehicle of, I think that it was Tesla one, I cannot remember, but we have an accident with this type of cars. So think in this example, okay? Okay, you see the developer, okay? I have to say that I am developer, so okay. Okay, perfect. So thank you guys. That's the last one question, but what is the conclusion of this? The conclusion is that we have a lot of questions, but we don't have an objective answer because we have a lot of opinions. Okay, that's why we need some ethical regulation and some guidelines to answer this type of questions. Okay, so how do we need ethics in technology? Because we have to take into account these three topics. Okay, so we will focus on technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics. But what is ethics? Why do we need ethics? Ethics is like the light that guide our journey. Okay, when we make some innovations, for example, in the innovations related to the technology in general, we need to check that all our innovations respect the human rights. It's really, really, really important to have this into account. Then, for example, in artificial intelligence, we need to make the innovations but maximize the benefits using this type of tools. And of course, then in robotics, we need to ensure that we have ethical interactions between the human and the robots. That's why we need ethics, because we need something that control this type of topic. So, as Luis Sepulveda say, that's a sentence that I love a lot. The importance of knowing the past in order to understand the present and imagine the future. So we need to know our past to define our future and to understand also our present. Okay, so another question, I love to make questions, sorry. But when do you think that the first technological innovation was made? Do you think it was 2 centuries ago with the steam engine? Do you think it was 10 years ago with AI? What do you think? I have the answer. For this question, I have the answer, right? So I have to say that the first innovation was made 3.3 million years ago. It was made in a lake. Let me put the laser. It was made in this lake that is in Kenya. It's called the Lake Turkana. And the first innovation was this tool. It was stone knives that were used to cut some animals and to be able to eat this type of animals. So don't think in innovation just technology. Innovations comes from really centuries and millions of years ago. Okay, so the question here is, how do we get from this, okay, from the fire to that? The answer is, again, innovation. I'm going to say this word a lot in this lecture, sorry, but all is thanks to the innovation, okay, and to the development of the human society. So, do we need to know all the innovation that we have made in the past to understand the future? I will say yes, but today I'm not going, of course, to focus because on all the innovations, because we can be here like one day or an entire day. So let me focus on the present, right? Here you can see that we have some important innovations like new vaccines, the discovery of DNA, the smartphones, of course, the electric light, really, really important innovations. So what about now? Here we have the main goal, artificial intelligence. Why it's so important, the artificial intelligence, and why do we need to focus today in this topic? It's so important, I don't have to say that artificial intelligence is so important because, of course, but why it's so important? Because nowadays we have two types of intelligence. We have the human intelligence and we have also the artificial intelligence. So it's going to have an impact in our world, of course. We can do now things that we cannot imagine in 10 years ago. But of course, it has a lot of advantages, but it has disadvantages too. And it depends on the person that have the power of AI. So it can give, I put here, it can give immense power to those who control it. So we have to ensure that the person who controls this type of innovation is smart people, good people, people with values, right? So here we have another graphic. I'm going to show you today a lot of graphics, but why technology and why artificial intelligence is so important today, and why do we need to control that? Here you can see the time that some innovations in our world has taken to reach the mass adoption. You can see planes, okay? I don't know, but for example, my grandparents have not flown in planes. So here you can see the number of years that the people get used to use planes, 68 years, radio, 38, PC, 14, internet, 3, Twitter, 9 months, Pokemon Go, 19 days. And what do you think about ChatGPT? How many seconds the people takes to get used to ChatGPT? We are in a race, of course. So what about the present? And why are we in a race? Here you can see some numbers that I believe that are really interesting. But do you know how many data are we creating each day? I found a new metric that it's called zettabyte. Preparing this lecture, I didn't know this metric, but you can see here how many million on terabytes. It's 4 zettabytes. Okay, I have not put here in the slide, but now you can know another word. So can you see how many data are we creating right now each day? Maybe today is even more, right? Why? Because as we say, we are in a rise. How many people own a mobile phone? 5 billion of people in the world. And how many of us has access to the internet? 50%. Okay. So, of course, we are in a race. I come from the research field, and we can see how all the days we can see papers about artificial intelligence innovation. And if you are not in the race, you can be lost really, really quickly. So that's why I think that this type of lecture is so important, because as a society, we have to be or to have the knowledge about all the things that are happening nowadays in the world related to technology. Okay, here you can see how exponentially all the innovations has been made during the years, right? About emerging technologies, of course, all of us know these technologies, but we have, for example, new things as Amazon Alexa, okay, IoT technologies, augmented reality. Here you can see Pokemon Go, then big data with Netflix. Now you take some relax in your sofa, you put Netflix, and Netflix know which type of series do you love the most. It's big data. Okay, then autonomous cars. As you can see here, we in the United States, you have not to drive. In fact, you can go in a autonomous taxi if you want. And of course, artificial intelligence with companies as OpenAI, right? So We are going to focus, we can't talk about all these technologies, but please let me focus just on artificial intelligence. And here we can see really interesting graphics about the abilities of AI nowadays. Here, you can see the performance of humans playing chess, right? This line is the highest rated human ever, okay? You can see that in this year, a machine could improve this ratio. So an AI or a machine nowadays can win in a chess game. Okay, but not only we are going to talk about chess. Okay, for example, I don't play chess, but I can do things like reading comprehension, image recognition, language understanding, handwriting recognition. Here you can see this baseline is the human abilities, okay? So AI system, you can see these lines, perform better than humans in language and image recognition and in reading comprehension too. If I would have had this graphic until the present, I could say that even in speech recognition, predictive reasoning, it would be better than us. But sorry, I don't have the graphic until today. Okay, but here you can see the ability of the AI in task like reading comprehension. That is a thing that we do every day. Okay, here you can see another example about image generation. Of course, I cannot paint images like that, but an AI, of course, can. And you can see less than 10 years to pass from this image to this one. And you can see now the videos that we can create with this type of tools, okay? But this is so fancy, this is so overwhelming, but what happens with that? Everything is fancy, fantastic? Of course, no. Here we can see like a dichotomy between some questions. For example, IoT devices can make a home or a workplace safer, but they can be used to gather personal information. Another example, sorry, AI can be used to improve medical diagnosis, but we have a problem here because could be also used to discriminate against groups of people. So what do we have to do? We have to look for like a balance between the things that an AI could be better and the things that AI could be worse, okay? So what are the ethical challenges in technology? We have a lot of challenges and every day we have a new one. So I'm going to try to resume the most important in my opinion, right? So why do we need or why do we have ethical challenges? This is another plot where we can see the number of new artificial intelligence company founded in the world, the United States, Europe, and China. A lot. Okay, so why are they creating a lot of companies? Because they are seeing the potential of artificial intelligence in the world. That's why a lot of people put money on this new innovation. And I think that it's really amazing that we have all this number of new companies because we can do a lot of things with AI. So we need that the people invest money on these new companies. But of course, we have to put ethical and legal regulations, okay? Because if we do not put these limitations, we will have problems in the future, okay? So the question, why is ethics important in technology? As I have said previously, it's like the light that guide our journey in innovation. But the real answer is this. It ensures that technology is used appropriately to benefit the society. That's the important word, benefit. We make innovations to benefit the society, not to harm the society. That's why we need ethical frameworks, ethical considerations, and to take this into account. Main challenge, ethical challenge. What are they? First one, misuse of personal data. Okay, we have a lot of problems with the data bank, for example. Misinformation, we have a lot of bad news in the newspaper, wrong news. So this is another problem. Autonomous technology, facial recognition, replacement of jobs, and bias. And let me extend here on bias. Okay, that's one of the things that I love the most to research, and that's why I'm going to focus now on bias. Okay, as you know, artificial intelligence is trained on human data. So the system of artificial intelligence mimics the behavior of the society. So let me show you an experiment that I did yesterday. I asked to Gemini to generate an image, and I say, I will give tomorrow a speech related to ethics and AI. Could you generate a photo about this theme? Perfect. The photo is perfect. It's too fancy. It's genius. Okay. But what is the problem here? It's not a problem, but we have something wrong here. As far as I know, I'm not a man, I am a woman. Okay, so I have to ask again, and I say, come on, you have assumed that the person giving the talk is a man and not a woman. In fact, I am a woman. Besides, the audience is also very biased. Okay, you can see the audience is like really perfect. All the people is we don't have variety in the ethnia. All the people is like from the same places, so it's really biased. So again, now here I am at least I am a woman, okay, but I'm not happy with the audience. So last I say there doesn't seem to be much of a variety of people in the photo either. They all look great and very normative. I need 3 prompts to get the image that I want. And why? Because the information or the AI has bias, right? So we have to take this into account. The question is, do we want an artificial intelligence that mimics the behavior of the society, or we want an artificial intelligence that not mimic exactly the behavior of the society, but is really ethical? That's the question. I don't have an answer. I have my own opinions, but I don't have an answer for this question. Then if you want, we can discuss, but everyone has their own opinion. What's the interest in the people about ethics? Is the society interested in ethics nowadays? Here you can see an example. Sorry, the image is in Spanish, but it was a screenshot for my computer. And here we can see the interest in the search in Google about computer ethics, internet ethics, cyber ethics, and artificial intelligence ethics. And you can see a peak here in the last year about artificial intelligence ethics. So it's something that the people is thinking. It's something that people is thinking about. So we have to take this into account too. Okay, what do we have in the world to follow related to ethics, or what do we need? We need some frameworks. They exist. We don't have world framework, but we have some things made by some companies and some organizations. And why do we need these ethical frameworks? Because we need something that benefits all the people that use the technology, and something where we can go when we have some questions about if something is ethical or not. And of course, to start a forum about the people that is interested in this type of topics. That's why we need something, or we need some ethical frameworks made by the experts. What do we or what can we find in these frameworks? We can see 9 principles about how a new model can be ethics, and its autonomy, well-being, safety, informational privacy, transparency, accountability, democracy, fairness, and sustainability. Okay, so a new model has to take into account these 9 aspects to be considered as an ethical model or an ethical innovation. Okay, but the future is not so far, it's really now. What can we do as a society, or what can we do as individuals to contribute to an ethical world? Okay, first, what can we do as a society? We can do 4 things. We can do, of course, more, but here are the 4 most important in my opinion. If I were a company advisor, I will say to hiring company ethicists, sorry, not only to have the best developer, we need people that knows about ethics, okay, and to control all the development that is made between or inside a company. Then we need to make not only frameworks, but we also need some codes, okay. Then we need to educate in ethics, because we need to see to our students, and not only the students, the society, to focus their knowledge in ethics. And then, of course, if we have some damage made by a model or a new innovation or a new technology, we have to to have some steps in how to remediate this damage. We need like a guideline on how to remediate this damage. Okay, this is as a society, but as an individual, what can I do? These 5 things. First, if you have the ability to make choices about what model use, we have to make conscious choice. Okay, maybe if I don't want that something is reading all my information, I have to focus on search for some models that take this into account. Then prioritize ethical technologies, always be learning, make some feedback and report to the companies that are in charge of these new innovations, and of course raising awareness and advocacy. Okay, what about the companies? Are they doing something? I have to say that yes, and they are the key players in ethics nowadays, because they are doing a lot of guidelines on how to make their developments in an ethic ways. The first one is ABM, is the main one, but of course we have always some guidelines from Meta, Google AI, and Microsoft. Google AI, for example, is doing some research in how to become their models totally ethics, for example, but of course Meta and Microsoft are doing something related to that. Okay, and just for finish, because we have just 30 minutes, I want to do some reflections, because today I have answered a lot of questions, but I don't have a lot of answers. I have, of course, but we are in an open world. We have to do a lot related to ethics. But last day I read this Substack, and it's say from Leonie, and it say, if data reflects what we have done, then ethics reflect who we want to become. That's why it's so important to have the word ethics in our mind. But the other thing that I really love in this lecture was the most powerful form of intelligence will still be human curiosity. Artificial intelligence is really smart, of course, but it doesn't have curiosity. So we have to focus on that in our daily lives because we cannot lose. And finally, technology will continue to change the world. We should all make sure that it changes it for better. That's my main objective in this lecture today, to give you some questions and to make you think about these questions. And of course, to try to change the world, but for better. Okay, so thank you very much. And of course, if you have any questions, you can put your questions in the chat.
Thank you very much, Belén. Thank you for such a clear, insightful, and compelling presentation. You've definitely given us food for thought. So now, as you said, it's time to move on to the question and answer session. So please share your questions in the chat and we will address as many as the time allows. So now it's about 30 minutes in since we started. So we've got about 15 minutes. Okay, so we've got a first question here. So in the chat, so there are some AI tools like DeepSeek that have some clear bias about history. I tried asking it about Mao Zedong's dictatorship, but it didn't answer or answered sweeten it a lot. Are there some ways that when we don't know if the information is incorrect or biased, contrast the information correctly? Should we be always on guard? Do you recommend, Belén, any kind of process to keep using AI in an ethic way, especially in the investigating field? Thank you. Sorry, I don't have a name for the person who have asked because it's logging as a guest, but thank you very much for your question.
Okay, thank you. I would like to know the name also, but don't worry. Thank you for your question. As you mentioned, as you say, we have to be always on guard because you can. Of course we use in our research that as you can. Investigate, or as you can see, sometimes we don't have the correct answers. So it's last day I were with some students, some school students, not university students, and they all the information that they want to look for, they look for in ChatGPT, Gemini, but they don't look for reference of from the information. So this thing, I believe that is really harmful for the society because we cannot believe just the things that an AI say to us. So we have to be aware, of course, and we have to check to do a double check of the information that we get. I hope to answer your question.
I think the question was from Milo Rodriguez. So thank you very much for his question.
Thank you, Milo.
And now we've got another one that says, hi, Belén, thank you very much for the lecture. Since you did mention money can be impactful to improve or innovate AI. What about being more inclusive to social classes?
Interesting. I don't know if I have understand with your question, but of course, money, as I have said, it could be a really impact on the AI and in the innovation. But we need to make some legal considerations to make this innovation freely to all the public. I don't know if this is what do you mean, But of course, we don't just need to do the best models. We need to assure that all the models are reaching all the people in the world. And maybe with this money, we can do that. We can reach all the people in all the countries, not just the people that have give the money.
Okay, so Belén, I think the person who has asked the question is Diana, and she says that she believes people with more money have more access, which will leave lower classes behind. So that's her comment on it.
Okay, yeah, it's related with what I have said. Okay, thank you, Diana.
There is another, I'm not sure, there is a question from Branca or a reflection which says, can we go back to the first question and reflect on the responses? Majority gives confidence to AI. What would be the risk remedy in legal application?
Okay, I will go to I'm going to share again the screen. And everyone can go to the first question. Okay, do you mean this one or the one made by Slido? I think they are talking about the second one. Okay, legal application. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you trust in AI to detail if we're okay. Okay, thank you. One moment, I will. Okay, and the question is, majority gives confidence to AI. What will be the risk remedy in legal application? Human discussion and consensus has always a contrasting factor for a possible wrong decisions. Yeah, Branca, I don't have an answer for this because everyone could have an impression on this question, but I believe that we can take these tools to have like a help in this process, but we cannot trust or we cannot just to get the AI the final decision. So we need to think in this tool as an assistant or a person who is helping in the process. Okay, but sometimes it could be more objective, of course, because it has all the information of the legal instructions in a country, but it doesn't have all the entire opinion on the cases. So we have to, as I have said, to take this as an assistant, not as a final decision in the process.
So Branca has responded that thank you for your answer. I'm not sure if people have more questions. If not, I've got a few questions myself. Well, in the meantime, until people have more questions on the chat, I would like to ask a question to you, Belén. Is it possible to create a completely unbiased AI, or is it bias an inherent part of any human-made system?
No, we can't. We can't create an unbiased and a totally unbiased AI. We could if we train on synthetic data, for example, or in data that is not real, that is not biased. We can create if we did in this way, but if we train with the society data, it will be biased. Of course, we have tools to remediate the impact of the bias, and we have some metrics, of course. But these metrics, it's like a number on how much the answer of the model is biased, but the bias is inside the model. So the answer is no, we can't.
Okay, thank you. We've got another question. So it's your slide shows that we create million terabytes of data daily, but one of the ethics principles is sustainability. How do we reconcile this data explosion with the massive energy consumption of AI data centers?
A really interesting question. We have another branch in the AI, sorry, that is called green computing, okay, and green models. So, of course, we have a contradiction here because we have a problem here because we are generating a lot of data. Okay, and one of the topics on ethics is sustainability, but we are trying to check all the process that we follow when we train a model and trying to make this more green. Okay, so there is a field in the research that is just dedicated to this part of the ethics and AI. Okay, so I hope that we have a solution soon.
Okay, thank you. So we've got another question from Milo Rodriguez. So it's, do you recommend any investigation articles or investigators that specialize on ethics of AI to further our comprehension of the topic, especially on its sociological aspect? I'm pretty interested on it.
Okay, thank you, Milo. You can write me if you want, and I will pass you some names because here in the University of Seville we have some groups related to the ethics on technology, not from the part of the computer science, but from the part of the more humanities part. So I can give you some names if you. I can't remember now. Sorry. I have in mind some of them, but if you want, you can write me to my email, and I will write in the chat my email because I think that I have not put in the on the slides. Okay, so you can write me if you want.
Thank you, Belén. So we've got another question from Maria Perez. So she says, right now, AI is used as a tool in too many areas, but when bad events happen, we blame the creators of the algorithms. For example, the addictive problems of the social networks algorithms. Do you think we will make these tools responsible at any moment?
Yeah, of course, Maria. I think that the people that use these tools are responsible, of course, because they are using, but the companies want that the people consume every day and in all the moments this type of apps. Okay, so yeah, of course, I think that we have to make the responsibles in fact, I think that they have like some punishment in the past related to this. Some of the great companies have some punishment related to this.
We've got another two questions, and I think that we are gonna finalize with these ones because we are running out of time. So does it make sense that we in Europe stick to ethics in AI, but in other less democratic countries they will not? What are the pros and cons?
The cons, of course, is that we are in a race, as I have said, and if we have a lot of regulation, we could not be as fast as the other countries. This is the main cons. But what do we want? To create something that is good for the society, or do we want to create some perfect but has some problems with the society? I think that's the question. And this is the pros and the cons of this thing. But it's a really interesting question because, as you can see, America and China has a lot of innovation in this topic, and we cannot be as perfect or as they have done because we have a lot of regulations, and of course we have problems with that, but I believe that we have to find a balance, okay, not to reach the American or to reach the other countries that have neither innovations.
Thank you, Belén. Two more
Welcome.
questions, and we are just running out of time. So your final
Okay.
slide says the most powerful form of intelligence, and this is a question from Ruben, will still be human curiosity. In an age of generative AI, how do we keep curiosity alive?
The question is to always make questions. It is said we need to question all the things that happen in our lives, because if we just believe the things that Jenai said to us, we don't have the real connections in the brain to process all this information. So I think that we have to back to the past and read more, question more, and do the things that we did in the past that we think that they were normal, and nowadays we didn't do. So I recommend to answer, to read, and so on.
Thank you, Belén. And the final question we've got here is from Branca. Do you think that philosophy education is becoming more and more important because of ethical problems, and that governments should invest in it as well?
Yeah, of course. I think that we have to invest more in education in this sense. We need more professors on ethics in innovations in AI. So yeah, we need to invest a lot of in education, and the governments, of course, have to do that.
Okay. Okay, I think that we have run out of time, so I would like to thank you, everyone, and thank you, Belén, for your inspiring lecture on AI and ethics. And also, I would like to thank our audience for keeping the chat very engaged and alive for the questions. And I would like to take this opportunity to remind that this lecture is going to be available afterwards. So I would also like to remind everyone that we host regularly Uliseus Open lectures. So please follow uliseus.eu, our website, and follow us in the Uliseus social media channels. And thank you, everyone, today.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.